Welcome back to Ruthless Metal. Today we're going to continue the top 10 album series by doing a top list of the best thrash metal albums of 1984. And in 1984 the genre was still in its infancy. There was a lot of demos going around, but only a few bands were ready to officially release anything. And there was also a lot of EPs released this year, so to be able to do a top 10 list, we're going to have to include the EPs as well. So it won't be just a lot of speed and heavy metal albums on this list. And as always, this list will include no singles, test pressings, demo tapes, live albums or compilations. It will only consist of thrash metal albums from 1984, whether that is full-length albums or EPs. But before we get into today's top 10 list, make sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out when I post the top 10 thrash records of 1985 video. And if you have a good knowledge about thrash that goes beyond the big four, then you should join the Discord server so that you can vote on your favorite thrash records. And now it's time for the top 10 thrash albums of 1984. And in 10th place we have Piledriver and their debut album Metal Inquisition. And these guys were from Canada and they played some sort of heavy speed and thrash metal hybrid with absolutely crude and over the top lyrics. It's a great album from an underrated band that just made one more record before disbanding. So let's listen to Piledriver and the song Metal Inquisition. In 9th place we have the German band Living Death and their debut album Vengeance of Hell. And Living Death was a speed/thrash metal band with some rather unique and kind of squeaky vocals by Torsten Bergman. And this band had a career that stretched into the early 90s, and even though they were pioneers of the German speed and thrash metal scene, they kind of did their thing in the shadow of Creator Destruction and Sodom. Maybe because Living Death wasn't as aggressive as those bands. In 8th place we have the Canadian thrash metal band Voivod and their debut album War and Pain. And I don't know how to describe this album, but I can say that it's absolutely ferocious and chaotic. So let's just listen to the song Voivod. In 7th place we have Exciter's second studio album Violence and Force. And their debut album Heavy Metal Maniac was my third best thrash and speed metal record of 1983. And once again these Canadians end up on my top 10 list. So here is Exciter with Pounding Metal. In 6th place we have Running Wild and their debut album Gates to Purgatory. And if you're only familiar with the pirate stuff that they produced later on, I'll suggest that you also check out early Running Wild, because it was quite a different band. They had some satanic undertones, kind of like Slayer or Venom. Maybe not exactly that extreme, but there were some hints of that. And the music was rather dirty speed metal, I would say. So let's spin some Running Wild and the song Soldiers of Hell.
Shadows of black horses, dark warriors of the bell, mighty and evil, reflection of an ancient tale. A gang of beasts beside you, the men you have to scare. You see the wrecks shining, and the long black hair. Soldiers of hell, soldiers of hell, soldiers of hell, soldiers of hell, soldiers of hell.
In 5th place we have Anthrax's debut album Fistful of Metal, and this record was quite different from the rest of their catalog. This album had more of a speed metal vibe to it, and it's Neil Turbin that sings on this record, the only album that he made with Anthrax, by the way. And I dig this album, I think it's one of their best. So let's spin Anthrax, Metal Thrashing Mad. In 4th place we have our first EP, and that's Destruction and their debut EP Sentence of Death. And this 5-track EP is amazing, and these Germans are thrash metal legends, so we don't really need an introduction here. So let's just listen to The Mad Butcher. In 3rd place we have Celtic Frost and their debut EP Morbid Tales. And this is a remarkable EP, and it really hurts me to only put it in 3rd place, but the competition was so fierce in 1984. And this is an absolutely brilliant album and one of my all-time favorites. So here is Celtic Frost and Into the Crypts of Race. In 2nd place we have Metal Church and their self-titled debut album. And this record is kind of hard to place. It's a mixture of heavy, speed, power and thrash metal. It's also their thrashiest record and one of my favorite albums of all time. So let's listen to the song Metal Church from the band and the album with the same name. The best thrash metal record of 1984 is, in my humble opinion, Ride the Lightning by Metallica. And this record was a giant leap for both Metallica and the genre itself. It's my favorite Metallica record, and it might just be the best thrash metal album of all time. It's definitely up there. So let's listen to the track Ride the Lightning. Here is my full list of thrash metal albums from 1984. And I also asked the people in my Discord server what's their favorite thrash metal albums are. And this is the list that you guys came up with. And you guys chose Razor's debut EP Armed and Dangerous, which is a good EP. It's not as developed as the rest of their catalog, but it's definitely a cool EP. And you guys also voted in Bathory's 1984 debut album, and this record is definitely the most extreme album on this list. It's like a mixture of extreme punk with thrash and just noise. And I didn't put it on my list since I thought of it more as a black metal album, but it's a unique and absolutely groundbreaking record that steered metal into a more extreme direction. And here we have the two lists side by side. And you might wonder why I didn't put Slayer's Haunting the Chapel on my list, when it was the second choice for the people in my Discord server. It's not that I dislike the album in any way, I think it's a remarkable EP, one of the best actually. But it's only 13 minutes long, so I felt it was a little too short to make it into my list. And I also want to do a shout out to Venom's third album, At War with Satan, which was close to making it onto both these lists actually. And if you're a fan of 80s thrash metal and are familiar with more than just the big four, then you should definitely join the Discord server, because we're going to vote on the top 10 thrash metal albums of 1985 someday soon. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you want to support my work, you can become a Patreon. And I use copyrighted music, so I don't earn a cent from these videos, so all the support is very much appreciated. And let me know your favorite thrash metal albums of 1984 in the comments down below. And that's all folks, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.